No.
A motion to approve that. For some reason, that was inadvertently left on. Sorry.
So moved.
So moved and
Second.
second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed. Here, item 5.0, hearing and requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. Come forward if you have any. That's not yet. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to 6.0, special presentation by Jim Zaleski, Economic Development Director for the City of Parsons and Director of Tourism for Lebec County, the Neighborhood Revitalization Plan 2024-2034.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I know I see you have a very busy agenda tonight, so I will make this as short as necessary, but I am here to answer any questions that you might have on this program. Very quickly, a rundown of how this gets put in place. The city holds a public hearing, then they pass an ordinance agreeing to accept a neighborhood revitalization plan. Anyone who would like to see that plan, I have extra copies here. That plan has been adopted by the city. At that point, it's my job to go on the road where I take and request for a concurring resolution to be signed by each taxing entity that would be affected by this. So at the end of this meeting, we would ask for that to be given to me as an original, and then I would take that, and then Section 2 of that concurring resolution, quote unquote, USD 503 hereby enters into an interlocal agreement with the City of Parsons, Lebec County, Kansas, Lebec Community College, Parsons Unified School District 503 and 506, and Lebec County Unified 506 for the purpose of all entities. So this concurring resolution gives the chairman or acting chairman the authority to sign the interlocal agreement. That would be the action that I would be asking for, is that the concurring resolution be passed and thus allow the signature on the interlocal agreement. Then all of this, all four concurring resolutions, the ordinance, the publishing of the public hearing, and the interlocal agreement will all be sent to the Attorney General, which then will have to be signed off on as a legal interlocal agreement. I have the interlocal agreement here this evening. The Attorney General has asked that one document with the signatures of all 5 taxing entities be on it, so I guard this with my life. And one time I remember the Attorney General's legal counsel wrote back and said, no, you all have to sign the same agreement. So I had to go around and visit all the entities one more time, even though they had all agreed, and have them sign the same thing. So when this is all done, a PDF of everything I just mentioned will be created, and I'll just send it that way. You have full documentation and full signatures of everybody involved. And if you had to reference it, you would have a copy of the actual plan, all the concurring resolutions, and the interlocal agreement. 2 changes from what we've done before. It does seem just like yesterday that I was here doing this. So I've written this program to last for 10 years, so that we're just not renewing it. Also, I think Einstein said, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We have tweaked this. We have not seen what we want to see in housing. We need more housing. So we want to take housing and commercial to a 10-year tax break. Now, neighborhood revitalization only means a tax break on newly assessed valuation. So if it's a vacant lot and they're paying $200 a year and then they build a house, they get that tax break on the house. They still pay the $200. If it's a house and it's worth $100,000 and they're paying $2,200 a year in property taxes for the $100,000 house, if they improve it to a $200,000 house, they get the break on the difference between 100 and 200. They still pay the base. So nothing that's on the books comes off the books. That all stays. This is just to encourage new development and basically new housing, but also upkeep of current stock to not penalize somebody for improving their living quarters. That's basically the program in a nutshell and the process as it stands. I would be open for any questions or comments or anything that I can answer to help out.
So the entire plan was included in the view 2 weeks ago or the week before. It's also included in the board packet.
So both are for 10 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
I think you answered my question. They can remodel, and they get the tax break or whatever on the remodel
Yes, ma'am.
amount.
Yes, ma'am. And we actually encourage them to go, I say them, anyone doing work on their house that they feel they need to pull a building permit for, this is on top of the building permit. And they have to sign a piece of paper saying, I have read and understand and have chosen to or not to go into this. That way they don't, any new building, oh, well, I didn't know, what it was there. It also helps because it's kind of a cover your backside program. If you're going to do roofing or siding or something that is considered general maintenance, that shouldn't raise your taxes. By filling this out, and then the county saying, you know what, that's general maintenance, so you don't need to do the program. Now, if somehow they were trying to set higher assessed valuation because of a brand new roof or siding, they would go, no, you said that you can't do it, it's general maintenance, because general maintenance wouldn't be considered a taxable accessible. You wouldn't be able to put additional taxes on maintenance. You can't assess additional taxes for maintenance, is what I was trying to slur through there.
Any other questions? David? You good?
I think so.
All right. That being said, need a motion to approve the neighborhood revitalization plan for 2024 to 2034, to be able to sign that resolution.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Passes.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Approach her.
Yes, he's going to go ahead and pass that around, get some signatures, so that he can go to his next meeting.
Your turn.
I started out
He said, can I approach the bench?
I started out with
He
that,
did.
it should be like 8 or 8:30 this morning at the county commissioner's office.
Right there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
thanks.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, that's passed. All right, 6.0B, Chief Robert Spinks, School Resource Officer update, no action?
No, the action is later for the MOUs,
Okay,
so this is just,
just the update first and then action later.
Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
Well, good evening. Bob Spinks, your police department head, and I'll give you an update on several things leading up to where we are with our school resource officer program. First off, the handout that you have is an insert. It's you get the first view that will be in this Friday's Sun. This is an ongoing process now that we do. We do an insert 4 times a year as a report to the community. And some of the highlights in this one is the rollout of our new domestic violence unit with help from a federal grant that the schools will also be involved in. It talks about our community policing efforts with a program called Police to Peace. Page 2 introduces Officer Blake Sanchez, who will be our second SRO. We have a school safety, school bus article in here. We also have an op-ed for me, domestic violence, Parsons' dirty secret. We also have an update on our crime stats for last year. And then on the back, it goes into the minutia of per capita versus reported crime, and clickbait is rampant. You sometimes see on the internet, we're the 3rd or 2nd most violent community in the state. So I think anybody who took statistics, and I had to suffer through 4 graduate classes with both my 2 master's degrees, I can make those statistics say anything. And what we look at is actual reported crime, not necessarily per capita crime, in part because, the criminal justice researchers consistently say that for cities under 20,000, using a per capita number is wholly inconsistent with any reality. And for anybody to suggest that Parsons is as violent as, or more violent than Wichita or Kansas City or a whole host of other communities in the state is literally nuts. We have our struggles, and if you haven't had a chance to go to the website at parsonspd.com, please do. You can download our annual report, which just came out. And our number one violent crime in this community is domestic violence, both aggravated assaults, which are felony level, and also misdemeanor crimes. Last year, we responded to 168 domestic violence cases in the community. Half of our violent crime in this town is all domestic violence related. Over the past 10 years, half of the homicides in this town have all been domestic violence related. So that's the crime. That's the challenge for the community. And the story on the front page of the insert will give you some background as to how we hope using a new grant and then hopefully being able to sustain that with a second public safety sales tax vote at the end of 2025, that we will have a unit with a full-time sergeant and also a victim advocate, along with a partnership with Safe House here in town. And we think that will be a substantive step in the right direction. But that's at least a piece of an update. I think that with Lori being engaged with the high-risk team, which is going to be part of this domestic violence unit, trying to bring all the social services, helping agencies together to identify all of the resources that we can bring to bear for victims and survivors to extricate themselves from these situations, as well as including the two prosecutors for maybe a reevaluation on how we prosecute domestic violence, combined with money from the grant, which also includes outreach and education, and melding that also with the school resource officer program, gives us a fighting chance to make some change in the community with the help of the community. The main reason I'm here tonight is to touch base with our school resource officer program. We have an extension of the current MOU so that we will have our primary SRO for another year, and we were able to secure a partial federal grant for a second school resource officer through the Department of Justice COPS hiring program. They provide $125,000 over a 4-year period, so it's a partial match, with the rest of that being on the backs of the city and to a certain extent the school district. We anticipate a need of $10,000 from the school district for that second officer, and then we'll take a step back and see what the true cost is in the oncoming years. Now, the 4th year of that hiring grant requires local ownership of that second school resource officer at 100%, which is a substantive amount of money when you look at total cost for benefits, wages, overtime, and all the accompanying costs. My goal, with a second public safety sales tax, would be to be able to lift that burden off both the shoulders of the city and the school district as much as we possibly could, and sustain those two officers for the next 10 years. That half-cent sales tax would also sustain the new domestic violence unit for the next 10 years. It would also be about the only new funds that would allow police and firefighters to see raises or cost of living increases to try, to get closer to being competitive with all of our surrounding cities. And it would also provide the match dollars to build a new public safety center. That center is estimated to cost $18.5 million. There's no way this community can afford that on its shoulders without federal assistance. Right now, we're in the federal budget for $10.5 million from the federal government to assist in that, with a local match of 8. And that 8 would also be part of the revenue that would be generated from that half-cent public safety sales tax. I share that with you because we sure don't want to come up against any other ballot measures as we get into the fall of 2025 to try to pass that half-cent sales tax. So this is an early warning, and hopefully we will have a clear ballot when that comes, and that we'll be able to make the case that for a half cent, that it makes perfect sense to make an investment in the future of the community and to get the fire department out of a building that, quite frankly, is a joke. They should have been torn down years ago or turned into, I don't know, a brew pub or a restaurant, but certainly not a main headquarters fire station. I believe at this point that we have the oldest operating fire headquarters in the state of Kansas, and that's really not anything to be proud of. It's got mold, it's an ugly old building. If you haven't had the opportunity to walk through that, please get a hold of the fire chief. I sure wouldn't want to sleep in that, nor would I want to work in it. And so this, trying to make sure that we have destinations is really important. Now, the pathway to get there, whether it's with SRO programs or funding or police or fire needs, well, and probably with school districts as well, it is never a straight line. And we sometimes have to, take detours as we hit obstacles or funding or staffing or other issues. But it is critical that we have an end destination, that we are all trying to strive for, to try to make sure that our community is best positioned for the future. I would also, I'm sure, it comes up every once in a while about, Uvalde. We've talked about this at the Public Safety Advisory Board, and certainly, we've had conversations with Lori, and the other board. That was a drastic failure, and that is a failure that we're committed not to have happen in our community. To think that law enforcement would be stifled by a locked door is sickening to most people. So we continue to train our officers in active shooter response. We now have a new 300-degree use of force simulator, which we will be inviting you to come and experience here probably in the fall, and so that we can maintain our skill set. Now, at the same time, what would happen if we didn't have a key or we didn't have a fob card, or well, almost all of our vehicles now have breaching kits, and that's real simple. It's a sledgehammer. And so one way or another, we will get through any door or wall that we need to get through. In my conversations with the city manager that we had after this event, she asked me the question, well, what would you guys have done? Well, if we couldn't get through the door, then we would have taken one of our patrol cars and gone through an exterior wall. And if that didn't work, we'd get a dump truck. And as you can well imagine, my boss's eyes got a little big, and she was concerned about that, mainly from the standpoint of, well, somebody could get hurt, and the comeback is everybody gets hurt if you don't get in. And so that's a mindset, within our agency, that we will not be stopped nor deterred to get in to take care of any threat in our school system. Now, conversely, strategically, we've taken on a couple of volunteers to be medical directors, Dr. Legler and Dr. D from the LCC nursing department, and our long-term goal with them is to enhance the level of emergency care that police officers can give. Our goal is to have our entire staff cross-trained as emergency medical responders, as I've trained other staffs where I've been a chief. It's not an EMT, but it does allow an officer to immediately turn around and go from one threat to being a guardian and a helping agent in the middle of a hot zone, to try to make sure that more people don't die. Now, the other benefit, obviously, to cross-train our officers as EMRs is that in any kind of natural or man-made disaster, with the folks at the fire department who are EMTs, paramedics, we're going to deplete those resources almost instantaneously. And so being able to have additional staff that have a level of medical care training above putting a Band-Aid, on a cut, which is kind of like basic first aid, is going to be very important. And so as we get into the fall, I hate to say, we're going to have to take your husband away a little bit more. We haven't done much, during the summer, but, now we're going to have to reel them in and start doing, some work on our EMR program. So those are all kind of quick updates. I will tell you, when you have a look at our annual report, last year we made 1,137 arrests. Arrests were up 29%. The downside to that is over almost 60% of those people were arrested at least twice. And we had a number of folks being arrested 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think our highest was 10 times in 1 year. We've been tracking that now for 3 years in a row. And the first year we thought was an anomaly, but pretty much between 55 and 60% of all of our arrests are repeat offenders within the same calendar year. I try not to beat up the judicial system, but I do call out those instances where we have felons that are arrested on a Thursday, and because of low bail or no bail, they are back out on the street by Monday or Tuesday, and then we're rearresting them again by Thursday. That's not a great way to be doing policing, and it actually contributes to that, high per capita crime rate. So we'll continue to share that information. We continue to reach out to the judges to take into consideration public safety when we're talking about bail, which is a statutory piece of the decision-making that they should be making and can make at the bail level. Sentencing is a little bit harder with mandatory sentencing. We also, in those arrests, we only used force in 5%. The national average is closer to 9%, so we're below the national average, which we take great pride in. And we also handled almost 500 crisis calls last year. Mental health is an issue not only in the general community, but for students and faculty and staff as well. And unfortunately, Kansas is not stepping up to really meet the needs of any of the communities in the state when it comes to mental health. And I don't have an answer for that, but it is something that law enforcement should not be the first responder to. It's a health issue, and again, I don't have a great answer, but it's just a challenge. So that's kind of the quick update, from your police department. And also, I'm looking forward to the growth of our school resource officer program. I think, at one point we were actually inching toward having 4 SROs before I got here. That dropped down to almost nothing during, COVID. And now we're trying to bounce back up to certainly have an ability to sustain a proactive and positive program, in the school district. If anybody has any questions, I would love to be able to try to answer it.
I'll have a comment first. I was at the meeting at the city commissioners where they commended you as being the #1 communicator in the city. I was there, and I'll have to echo that. You do a great job of telling the public what goes on in our police department, and you're also a big proponent of the sales tax issue that's coming up. Secondly, we talked about, some of us were here when Dennis Dodd was our first resource officer, and he did a fantastic job. He'd come to the classes, and he communicated well with all the kids. This afternoon, or this morning, I was reading the memorandum understanding on the cops part, and I called Autumn Carson from St. Patrick's to see what, because they were mentioned in this particular grant. And of course, there's a new priest there that took over, so if you try to communicate, that got lost someplace. So I called Lori, so there was a couple issues that we needed to get straightened out before we signed any MOU.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still waiting to hear back, and face-to-face, with St. Patrick's.
And they probably have to communicate with Wichita or wherever their diocese is first as well. So, but we are interested in having Officer Sanchez. It'll just be a matter of the MOU reflecting whether he's with us full-time or with us 90% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our intent is we will still deploy him, And, whether St. Pat steps up or not, we'll figure that out. For the best interest of the kids, we want to make sure that we've got that second officer for you. And just so, everybody's, clear, what we were looking at was basically a 10% use of his time, basically for visibility, not necessarily to be housed at St. Pat's. And for them to make a very superficial contribution, toward that match.
Okay, that clears it up. Any other questions? David?
I just have a comment. Whoever is running your social media page, I don't know if that's you, but it is fantastic.
It's a cadre. There's 5 of us that try to keep a handle on social media.
It's great. I think it's a lot of people in the community share it. It's creating information, accurate information, and I like some of the cheeky responses that the police officers write to us. So
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
We try to, pull our punches, but I also believe, when I first got here 6 years ago, we didn't have a social media presence for all intents and purposes. And there was a lot of interesting dialogue, that was thrown about. And I've just never been a believer that you roll over. And you certainly don't want to roll around in the mud with pigs either. But I think it's really important to try to be as transparent and forward in sharing information. Whether it's with inserts, social media, podcasts, blah, blah, blah. In this day and age, especially for law enforcement, you don't get the option to just say, well, we're really busy and we don't have the resources. Now, I also hear that from a lot of my peers as chiefs and sheriffs, usually from bigger agencies that have more resources, and they try to tell me, that, well, we don't have the staffing or if Parsons can do this, then I'm sorry, the rest of the profession can step up to the plate. I think as a profession, we've done a horrible job in reaching out to explain, incidents, or for that matter, condemning those that are inappropriate and not lawful. I just don't think, if you're going to have a gold badge, there's some responsibilities that go along with it. Now, I got to say, I'm a little bit older. My city commission and city manager give me kind of a long leash, and I don't have anything to lose, to tell the truth. At this point, I mean, I've got a couple retirement checks that come in. So I'm still going to be able to put beans on the table, even if somebody doesn't, if somebody wants to shackle me. But other chiefs and sheriffs are not always as lucky as well politically. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other questions? If not, much appreciated as usual.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you so much for, taking, care of the most valuable resource, that our community has.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief.
Item 7.0, accountability plan reports. Budget
All right.
report, Laura Ellison.
Here she comes. So Laura is our new business manager.
Hi.
You had an opportunity to meet her or not?
I apologize if it was too early.
Thank you.
There's visuals, so hopefully
Oh, a graph.
Thank you.
everyone knows what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Jeff's gonna love this. It's right up Jeff's alley.
All right, so as Lori mentioned, I'm Laura Allison. I'm the new business manager here for the district. So this is my first board meeting, so thank you for having me. So just kind of give you some highlights for the budget. Some things that we had to plan for this upcoming school year is the sunsetting of the ESSER funds. So our COVID funds, they will have to be expended by December. So we have a small pot of money left, but you'll see on the, I believe it's on the second page when you're looking at federal funding, there's quite a substantial dip in those. And I can get you the full budget, which will be available and published in the newspaper, and then approved by the board. But, so there's the large dip in ESSER funding that we had to account for. There was an increase to the state aid base, which is a good thing. State is adding additional funding for students. There's also more funding available for our special education programs. But as a result of those increases in state aid, there is a increase in contribution from the local community. So the local effort has to increase to match that increase from the state. So a large portion of where those funds are going is to our special education program and to meet those minimum match requirements that is laid out by the state. So the first page shows you what those mills equate to in dollar amounts for our general and supplemental general funds. The Recreation Commission is a pass-through, so taxpayers may see that on their taxing statement, but we receive those funds from the county and immediately pass those through to the Recreation Commission. So we take their approved budget, incorporate that into the calculation, and then get that information to the clerk. We also are expecting health insurance to increase by 13%. So that's a Blue Cross Blue Shield increase. Again, that increase in and of itself is not in our control. So we do have to account for that. And then, like I said, making sure that we meet those minimum requirements to match the state aid for the local effort. And then also we have our budget review with the Department of Education tomorrow. So if there are any issues, which I do not expect any based on how much support I had in developing the budget. So I don't anticipate any issues, but if there are, we will bring them to light prior to publishing anything in the paper and before the September 9th hearing, which is where that would be subject to approval. Okay, any questions?
Any questions?
Laura's done a great job. She's jumped right in.
Yeah.
Jumped right in.
I'm
Good
excited.
information.
So, and we appreciate Tanya was able to work the month of July. She came in 1 day a week and worked with Laura as well, so that helped.
Yes.
Kind of start where things had finished and where they went on, and then we've had some support from Green Motion.
Absolutely. And everyone's been great. Everyone's been very helpful, helping me learn the primary
Good.
education world, so I'm excited.
This isn't the first time we've heard good things about you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
And she'll be back in August, not
Okay.
August, in
September.
September.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to 503.
Yeah. Item 7.0B, recruitment and retention update.
All right, okay, so when we did the first original 2019 strategic plan, recruitment and retention were on that list. And that was a time where if you wanted to apply for a job in Parsons USD 503, you either had to physically come in to pick up an application, or we could email you one, but then you'd have to print it off and handwrite it, or, it wasn't fillable, and we didn't do a really good job of posting the jobs that we had. We tried our best to get them on the website, but it wasn't anything that was live or anything like that. And so since that time, we have really made strides in that. And so I wanted for Jeff to share what we've done the last 3 or 4 years, since 2019.
Yeah, talking about the online program is going to be an aspect of that, but I know when we had our strategic planning work session, we had a lot of good conversation about how do we recruit and retain talented educators, and that's real important. So I just want to talk about a few things that were brought up that night, and then our progress towards that. Competitive salary is one thing. Last year, our teachers got a 6% increase. Classified staff got a big bump as well last year. We got another proposal for more staff to stay competitive in the SEK. That's something that we're monitoring, whether it's classified, whether it's certified teachers, whether it's administration. We want to stay competitive in that area. That's obviously important. Employee satisfaction is also something that we've been measuring for the last 3 or 4 years, and make sure that our staff will feel supported, that they feel communicated, that we're listening to them, that we're making improvements, and just a few things from those surveys. We've had a 20% increase in school climate as reported by the teachers over the last 3 years. We've had a 19% increase in staff leadership and their views on how our leadership is doing over the last 3 years. So those are some areas that we feel like have really improved. Identify and attract a diverse talent pool. We've had a lot of discussion about that. Ms. Ray talked about the efficient process for hiring, and then how are we going to grow our own, or some of the things that we've talked about. As we talk about employee satisfaction, I think our teacher mentoring program is something that we continue to evaluate and assess as we get teachers coming into the profession from all different ways now. Used to be you went to college for 4 years and you became a teacher, and now it's online school, it's apprenticeship programs, it's non-traditional routes. So we have to support our teachers in that mentoring aspect. We have great instructional coaches, I know you guys know that, and they play a huge role in working with those teachers and make sure that they are supported and that they have the continuing professional development to be successful in the classroom. When we're talking about identifying and attracting a diverse talent pool, it's got to be easy to apply. When I applied for a USD 503 just 4 years ago, like Lori said, I had to print it out, write it by hand, deliver it, or scan it and email it, and that's just difficult for some people. So now they can apply right there on their phone, their computer, they can do it. It comes in immediately. Our administrators can get an email update, they can monitor the site, we can communicate with that person, and we can move much more quickly.
And it automatically sends out those reference checks. So
Right.
as administrator, if I've got a second grade opening, it comes up on my phone every time someone's applied, and I can click, I can read all of their references, I can check their resume, just right there.
Right, and let's be honest, somebody's applying for a teaching job, they're probably not just applying here. We need to be able to move quickly. I know Rick Kiefer, when he sees a bus driver or a bus monitor in there, he's moving very, very quickly on that, so especially in those areas of need. Another thing is our social media presence. We have really worked to grow that over the last few years. Matt Peak, Colleen do a great job when we have openings, working with Amanda Riley on what do we have open and getting that out on social media, so because that reaches a ton of people who may be applicants for us. So that's important. We go out to local universities. We go to Pittsburgh State. We go to community colleges, we go to Emporia State from time to time. So we go out to career fairs. Missouri Southern in Joplin has a good one that we go to, so that we're talking to candidates that are graduating, let them know about Parsons, and not just that, but building relationships with those universities, so that when we have an opening in a tough to fill area, we can call and see if they're going to have any graduates and have that relationship to attract more candidates as well. Our interview process, I think was very good, but we continue to try to refine that, because when you are interviewing for a job, we are interviewing them, but they are interviewing us as well. So we need to do a good job and show off our schools and what we do, whether it's tours, whether it's a representation of relevant stakeholders. When they're coming in, if we're interviewing an elementary teacher, we're going to have an elementary teacher on that interview panel. We're going to have instructional coaches. We're going to have board members at times when it's administrative positions. So it's important that everybody has a voice in that, and that we pick the right person. And then grow our own is something we've had a lot of discussions about. I think we need to do a better job as we work through our new strategic plan on this, starting that teacher education pathway at the high school. So we have kids here in Parsons that are attending our schools that want to be teachers. We need to help, grow that passion and help support them into doing that post-secondary. Utilizing the teacher apprenticeship program. Kayla got us in contact with some people. We've had that. I think has some potential in our district for helping kids get their schooling paid for and then become the workforce in schools here at Parsons USD 503. And then lastly, our full-time substitute positions, I think, have been really helpful. We've been able to hire graduates who may be graduating in December, get them in our schools, get them in our classrooms, see how they do, and create that partnership. And then when we have something, open that fits that we can able to move them into those positions. So that's been, I think, useful in growing our own teachers as we move through that. If you get a chance, get on the website and explore. You can kind of see the talent ed and how easy it is to apply and see that, and I'd be happy to show you some of that. I don't want to cover up David's face and project it all on there, but it's a really good, efficient program for us to move faster in the hiring and recruiting process.
It's
Anything
good
else?
stuff. I don't have anything. Anybody have any questions?
All right. 8.0, report of the superintendent of schools.
All right, okay, so it is time to enroll. People have been enrolling since about the middle of July. This morning when I talked to Durden, the numbers were at 92.42% of the students from last year had enrolled. We have 1,171 kids already enrolled. We still have all this week and all of next week, so I anticipate that we will match last year's first day numbers, which were 141 more than where we're at right now. So if someone hasn't enrolled, if they're out there listening, you can call the school, they can help you. You have to have a password through Infinite Campus. It really takes about 5 minutes. Once you've got that done, there are kiosks set up in every building, so you can stop there and get those as well. So that's this week and next week. On the 19th, school starts. You've gotten a letter, I bet. Staff got a letter in their email that just gave them the rundown of everything we're doing the first few days. So on the 19th, let's see, so the 19th is the first day. We used to, back in the day, sit and watch all of those trainings. Do you remember all those trainings? And it was like 2 hours of trainings. Now we're up to about 3 hours that are required. It used to be that all the teachers would sit together and do all 3 hours of training. We don't do that. What we do the training, I send out the email that has the link, and then they do it on their own time when it works for them. Now, we allot time during one of their work days, so we're not asking or expecting them to work sometime other, but if they want to, they sure can. And so our classified staff, they're all paid the 3 hours worth of wages to do that training as well. Those are all trainings that are required by the state. And we do a couple others. We do an AED training each year for everyone, since we do have AEDs in each of the buildings, and we do an EpiPen training as well. So we've got that. So the 19th, we'll start out, we'll have our breakfast. So if you want to come at 7:15, you can grab an apron. We start feeding people at 7:30. It's a fun time. We do the first day of school picture at 8, about 8:15-ish, because everyone should get a first day of school picture, even if you're a grown-up. And it's fun. If you stop by the district office, you can see all of those. Like the year we had COVID, we did it. We were all spread out on Marvel Park. Yeah, and then the next year we were all in masks. So some history on the wall. So we do that, and then Dr. Quaren will probably be there. We'll do some insurance things. Last year in May, we were to have that naloxone training, that drug training, and they weren't able to make it. So we will have that training all together on that Monday. And then Commercial Bank is generous every year. They do a great job of feeding us and welcoming us back. And so that first day, they're going to have a cookout for us. So we appreciate that. We'll do that. Then on the 20th, that Tuesday, this is some professional development. So Jeff and the instructional coaches, they've worked for gotten the new math curriculum ready, because it was time to adopt it last year. So it's Go Math. So they're going to have some professional development. Go Math people will be here for part of that day.
Yes.
Something like that.
Morning.
So in the morning. So they'll do that. And elementary and high school, they're going to have their team meetings, grade level meetings, all of those meetings to get ready and things set up. And then part of that day is set aside for those 3 hours of all that training. Then the 21st, which is Wednesday, that's a work in the classroom day, so we won't have any meetings that day. Teachers across the district will just have the entire day to work in the classroom. We have a special treat coming that afternoon. The Blue Spoon is coming over from Pittsburgh, and so everyone will have a chance to go get a funnel cake, because you should just have a funnel cake on the first day. Yeah, the Blue Spoons.
They're good.
They are
They're
good, you're right. So they're going to be here that afternoon on the 21st. That night is sneak peek for all of our elementary schools. That's from 5 until 7. It's just come and go. It's come and drop your things off. It's not come and let's have a big, long discussion with the teacher. Not necessarily, because that teacher's going to have 20 other kids, but it's a lot of meeting and greeting and dropping things off so kids know, I belong, here's my name tag, here's my desk. Helps alleviate some of the nerves before the first day of school. August the 22nd is the first day of school, and it's the first day of school for everyone pre-K 12, and it is all day. what we have found historically is that some start, some don't. We've tried it different ways, and in the past, we've said like half a day. Okay, well, that works, except that then when it's time to ride a bus, a kid that rides a half a day may go someplace different than a full day, and then where do they go? And then we have like, let's just start and do it like we're going to do it. We're going to do it all year. So we're excited about that. That night, that Thursday night, the 22nd, is middle school, high school open house. And so it's from 5:30 to 7:30. You come get your schedule, walk around. And I've had a lot of middle school parents say, but wait, what about the lockers? And I remember those days. I remember being at the middle school as the principal, but also as a parent. You can come and get your schedule anytime at the middle school. Just get on into the office. And if you can't come when the office is open, if you call them, they're happy to set something up so that your child can come and open the locker and practice.
But they will
kind of-
practice a lot the first
the
probably a
first
couple
few
weeks.
weeks.
Takes a while.
First few, it does take a long time, so there is no worry. And there are locker keys. So that was always, on each floor, there was always at least one or two adults that had a locker key that could just help out in a big crunch. So that's what we've got going on that week, which is just crazy. It's gone fast.
Talk about lunches.
Oh, and so with enrollment, so when your child comes to enroll, couple things. The board had voted no technology fees, so people need to be reminded of that. And also that we were approved again for the free meals, and so nobody has to pay for a meal. And so menus came out. Julie sent me a thing today and said, oh, those menus, they really look good. Marla and the ladies in food service have really made an effort to include a lot of fresh fruits and wraps and salads and those kinds of things. And we're really hoping that our Viking Farms, the hydroponic farm, gets up and running so that we can start to grow our own greens. They've been working on some motor issues, but we've got good quality free meals, and so we're excited. It's always exciting when school starts, so that's...
Thank you. Item 9.0, reports on Tri-County Board meeting. Leanne.
All right. Well, we've had 2 meetings since we all met. We had the regular board meeting on July 10th, and Emily McCambridge explained the 3 sources of revenue for Tri-County, which was really helpful to me because is hard to understand for me. But anyway, she went through that with us and then printed it up also, and how they get the state funding for special education. And then we did a little business, and we have the board president is Robert Roski from Coffeyville again, and Merlin Ramsey from Fredonia is the vice president. And we approved board policies and personnel manuals, with the exception of those governed by Title IX that we're waiting on. So, and they said that someone mentioned maintenance of, it was Laura, wasn't it? We did meet that, so that was interesting to me too, to find out that, what has to be done in order for us to all meet that requirement. And then there was information about categorical aid that she's just kind of trying to introduce a lot of that to us newbies on there, so I appreciate that. That was I believe that was it on that board meeting. And then on the special board meeting was July 31st at 6. And we approved the teacher negotiated agreement as presented. And they added $12.50 to the base, $50 to each step starting on step 5. And then they added to the insurance, but they can't pay the full amount, but they pay part of it. So that raised their base to $45,000, teacher base. Is that it on that? I think so. Are there any questions? I did bring other information. Oh, I take that back. I'm not finished. We also approved the adjustments to the certified personnel manual so it could reflect the negotiated agreement, and approved the benefits, salaries and wages for paraprofessional certified licensed staff and office personnel, the assistant director and the director. and they added 55 cents to the paraprofessional base. So I thought that'll help.
They have how much?
55 cents to the base on that, so it brings it up to $13.05. And then they also added more for their insurance.
Okay. Thank you. All right, old business, item 10.0, action on staff social media guidelines with some caveats here.
So, yeah, at the last board meeting, there were some things that Lou presented from Oklahoma that he had shared. I'd sent some things to KASB and was waiting for a review, and right now they are just slammed doing negotiations and a
Yeah.
variety of things. So the original set of guidelines was originally approved that we've used in the past.
So we'll take the motion to accept the original guidelines with the caveat that depending on what comes back from Kansas Association of School Boards, if they recommend that we add the parents to the guidelines, we'll have another vote on that. Otherwise, if they say no, we'll just stick with what we voted on tonight.
So it would just be
Got
a recommendation to accept it as is with the ability to change if it's updated
All
by
right, so we
KASB.
need a motion to do that.
Also move.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Item 11.0, action to accept donations to schools for the months of May and June.
Okay, so this is on page 48 and 49 of your packet. So Lincoln Elementary, donation from HD Photography Interstate Studio, the Spring Photo Commission, $274.27. At Guthridge, there were two donations from PTO for fourth grade Mother's Day, $69.07. Fourth grade May Day, $62.11. From Interstate Studios, $100.90 for a total at Guthridge of $232.08. The high school, during the month of May, Merlin and Charlene Taylor Family Fund made a $2,500 donation to TSA, or the Technology Student Association. Breaking Down Barriers to Learning Fund made a $2,500 donation to the TSA as well. Clemens Insurance Agency, donation to the FCCLA program, $50. Mike Carpino Ford, FCCLA program, $250. Lori Ray, FCCLA program, $200. Jason and Rebecca Dantic, $150 donation to FCCLA. Commercial Bank made a $100 donation to FCCLA. Verlin Bollinger made a $300 donation to FCCLA. Ray Products made a $120 donation to FCCLA. There were anonymous donations to FCCLA that totaled $1,508. Parsons Katie Days made a donation to the football program, $800. There was an anonymous donation for orchestra instruments, $313. An anonymous donation for the Camp Club, which is the multicultural club, $170. Jock Snitch made a donation to the softball program, $278.45. Ohio Pile Prince made a donation to the positive reinforcement program, $3.82. There was an anonymous donation to the building trades program of $45, totaling $9,288.27 to the high school. So for the month of May, total donations were $9,794.62. For the month of June, which is on the next page, it was a little bit slower month. So Garfield had an unrestricted donation from Interstate Studio Photography, $143.62. Parsons High School, Labette Health made a $500 donation to FCCLA. Power Flame made a $100 donation to FCCLA. And Katie Days made a $235 donation to the Dust Kickers for $835 to the high school. So total June district contributions or donations, $978.62. So I recommend that you approve those donations for the month of May and June.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
11.1, action to set special meeting to hold hearing to exceed revenue neutral rate and hold a budget meeting.
So typically what we have done historically is the day that we have the September board meeting, we just schedule the special board meeting for that day. So it would be, we would set the special meeting for the hearing to exceed the revenue neutral rate and hold the budget hearing at 6 o'clock on September the 9th, and then our regular board meeting would start at either 6:10 or 6:15, whatever would be your preference.
Sounds good. Need a motion to do that?
I move that we.
So moved.
Second it.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, opposed, all right. 11.2 is nixed.
Yeah, it was removed. That's the building needs assessment. Last year, we had to have separate action on it. Now it has to be a part of the resolution. So it'll just be part of the resolution when we have our budget meeting next month, so.
All right. 11.3, action to appoint representative to delegate assembly for the KSP convention. So we're looking for someone,
Right, this will be held in Wichita. It's a 3-day deal. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it is in November. It's the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th. So typically, historically, Mike Castle has gone to that. So we need to know if there's anyone that's willing and interested in attending. I'm going to go. It's my birthday, but I'm still going to go.
I don't mind going. I have to usually go for work anyways. So
Okay.
it doesn't matter if nobody else wants to go.
I would also go if Kayla doesn't, if something.
And you can both go.
I'd be
because there are
interested.
some places that
Yeah.
more than one
Okay.
person can go. Now, we'll have to
Right.
have.
I like to go if you want, so that I feel
Yeah.
less
that's
nervous.
scary.
Here we go.
So more than one person can go,
Yeah.
and then there'll have to be one person that is identified as the delegate that will be voting.
Right.
But more than one person can attend. So,
All right.
So you volunteered?
Yeah, or Julie can vote and I can go. It doesn't matter. Either way.
I don't care. I'll volunteer going, but I don't care who's delegate.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's been on the board longer. She can vote.
okay.
All right.
And I'll
So
go
what's
and
that?
learn.
So Julie will be the delegate, and Kayla will attend as well. So this will be fun.
We'll
Right.
take you out for your birthday,
When's your
Lori.
birthday?
My birthday's Saturday, November 16th. Like, when I say I'm
We'll be
going
there.
to be there on my birthday,
Yeah.
legit, like I'm going to be
All right.
there on my birthday.
Henry's birthday is Thursday.
All right, we'll need
Yeah.
a motion to approve Julie and Kayla.
Also moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Okay, and so we'll get you, Miranda will get rooms.
All right.
Everything set
Item
up.
11.4, action on 2024-25 classified staff handbook.
All right, so we have the first reading at the July 8th board meeting, and so it is ready to be approved. I haven't gotten any questions or,
We have one question.
oh, okay.
The I love you guys standard response, was that discussed to the board?
Yeah, I presented that to the school board with crisis response
Okay,
a couple of years. That's
I remember now.
protocols that we did.
okay, I got you. I just forgot the terminology. All
Yeah,
right.
it is different language.
All right, need a motion to approve if there aren't any questions.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Passes. Action 11.5, action on 2024-25 staff handbooks.
So those were included, last time there was one change. Olivia caught something on the high school one that talked about students if there were a fire, so that was corrected and sent back out. It would say staff and/or students might help someone from the second floor. We did, my first year, we bought these slide
Yeah.
things, do you remember those? So we do have those at the steps, so in case someone is upstairs, you can put someone who may not be able to walk in the stairs in one of these slide things and go down. It's just a matter, I think it's best to say students and/or staff being primarily what we would prefer.
I would think it would be a staff responsibility.
It would be a staff responsibility, but I think if it's me and someone is really, I was thinking like, if there's a bunch of high school kids up there, I'll just use Matt Ray as an example. He was a very, very strong kid. And if it's a big person that needs to be carried, I may not be physically, an adult may not physically be able to, but a student with an adult assisting could do that. We're going to use good common sense and safety for sure, but we really, the primary objective is to get everyone out. And we do have those slides for that very reason. So, I think, and I didn't hear anything from anyone else about any changes for the staff handbooks.
Need a motion to approve as stated.
So moved.
So moved. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
11.6, action on the 2024-25 negotiated agreement.
I think this should be after we have executive session to discuss negotiations. And I think probably so, because we have to vote on approving the negotiations
All right,
first. So
so-
that was my fault. I should have caught that.
Okay.
Just- We should have, yeah,
after
we'll just,
executive session.
we'll just move that, which we
All right,
can
well,
do. Yeah,
All right,
won't take but a minute.
all right, let's move on to 11.7. Action on the memorandum of understanding with the city of Parson to provide a school resource officer.
Okay, and so this is the memorandum of understanding that we've used each year. This is for Cheyenne Dunn's current position. The district contribution to that position is $35,000, which it has been for the last 2 or 3 years. So that is something that's approved as an at-risk expenditure. It's on the list of approved things that the state has given, so that's typically the funding in which we use to pay for that. So we would recommend that you
Need a motion to approve that item.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. All right, now, 11.8, action memorandum of understanding with the city of Parson to provide an additional school resource officer with another caveat.
So this is the grant that we had discussed probably, 18 months ago? And so the cost of this to the district would be $10,000. And again, that could be used for at-risk from at-risk funding. The only caveat would be is if St. Pat's does choose to participate, then the portion of services that they would receive, they would be required to pay for. We can't take our state tax dollars and pay for something at a parochial school. So, but I would recommend that you approve that, and then it'll either be $9,000 or $10,000 depending upon what St. Pat's chooses to do.
And after the chief talks to Autumn Carson and...
Right, and she talks to the diocese.
So with that caveat, or any questions on that?
What happens in year 5?
So in year 5, what they're hoping that there will be that tax,
Half-cent
that
sales
half-cent
tax.
sales tax that will pay for a portion of that. It may be
Will
then,
we,
pardon me, fully?
yeah, would we have the option and the capability of opting out if
I think-
so.
it didn't go through?
Right, yeah. I would assume that we would. And it's also possible that we would work out some other kind of deal where we pay a percentage like the $35,000 that we currently pay, but I don't foresee that we would, the district would take on that entire burden.
Yeah, as long as we can't be financially liable for the full burden, I would be a proponent.
Right.
Okay. So need a motion with the caveat as stated.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Let's do 11:10, executive session to discuss personnel matters for non-elected personnel. We need
I'd say 15 minutes.
15 minutes. So we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA at, let's say, 7:05 for 15 minutes, and the board return to open meeting at 7:20. Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right.
ahead unless someone has anything else.
Let's move on to 11.11. Executive session to discuss employer-employee negotiations and clarify that last motion that I made. I forgot to include the superintendent and assistant superintendent that would be in the executive session. So we're going to go into executive session to discuss the exception for employee negotiations under COMA at 7:23 for
About 10 minutes.
till 7:33. Return at 7:33 in this room. Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? executive session to discuss school security matters. We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the exception under coma for school security matters to ensure the security of the school, its buildings, and/or its systems is not jeopardized at 7:35, we'll say. And we'll go for 5 minutes till 7:40. Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Cable and installation, need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
So moved. Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Let's combine 1114 and 1115. Action to ratify the 2024 negotiated agreement with Parsons National Education Association, and action on the 2024-25 salaries for the superintendent, assistant superintendent, administrators, and directors. Need a motion to approve as stated.
So moved.
So moved.
I second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any against, no. Item, all right, where do you want to go with?
All right,
There's
so-
1116.
Yeah, so 1116, I'll get started on that. We've got some resignations from employment. Kyle Hostetter, middle school recovery aide, effective July the 25th, 2024. Cypress Jones, high school edgenuity aide, effective August the 5th, 2024. Allison Sheelight, Lincoln title aide, effective July the 22nd, 2024. Dan Swafford, Guthridge recovery room aide, effective August the 2nd, 2024. Jason Blansett, bus monitor, effective August the 11th of 2024. Taylor Hudgens, Guthridge title aide, effective August the 9th of 2024. And Piper Sanders, Lincoln part-time evening custodian, effective August the 16th of 2024. I recommend that you approve those resignations from employment.
All right, need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, recommendations for employment. Gloria Alvarez, child nutrition staff, effective August the 19th, 2024. Letitia Fauntleroy, Garfield title aide, effective August 19th, 2024. Sarah Hunn, elementary art substitute teacher, 24-25, effective August the 19th, 2024. Alicia Morrison, kindergarten aide, effective August the 19th, 2024. Larissa Morton, Lincoln title aide, effective August the 19th, 2024. Debbie Scheenberger, Lincoln billing clerk, effective August the 20th, 24. Eric Lyons, high school boys assistant basketball coach, effective the 24-25 season. Marcus Smith, middle school assistant football coach, effective the 24 season. Connie Zink, child nutrition staff, effective August the 19th of 2024. I recommend that you approve those folks for employment.
All right, need a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
All right.
opposed? That passes.
All right, and then we have
Transfer.
3 transfers for employment. Eric Lyons, Guthridge title aide to high school edgenuity aide. Sue Smith, middle school child nutrition staff to high school kitchen manager. And Teresa Taylor, Lincoln behavior support aide to the middle school recovery room aide. I recommend that you approve those
All
transfers.
right, need a motion.
So moved.
So moved. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Do we need to go back and do the negotiated agreement?
He combined that with 14 and 15, so the minutes would just reflect both of those, and both were approved.
What is the elementary art substitute teacher?
So that was a position that when our elementary teacher moved, so we didn't have an elementary art, that had been open. And so that'll be a 3/4 time position. So that's been advertised for a number of weeks. So we were excited to get an experienced teacher to fill that spot. So I think that's all that I have.
We are adjourned.
All right.
So how would,
All right, see you everybody, time for dinner.